bleed. So he thought he was okay. Well, then he came back and bingo, as they say, there was DNA on the ass. And there was DNA on the inside of some latex gloves that were in the green bag that he tried to throw away.
DNA that matched Michael LaCosta. Just 2 weeks after the murder, he was charged with killing his sister-in-law, Maggie LaCosta.
Eddie, how do you even take that information in? The detective is telling you we believe we have your mother's killer, and he is your uncle, Uncle Michael.
At first I was optimistic about it, actually, because I thought, well, there must be some link to Ed.
And the son wasn't the only one thinking that way. The detectives, prosecutor, all saw the hand of Eddie's father, Ed Sr., behind the heinous murder.
You think in most cases, it's you got it. It's scientific, it's DNA, it's everything. But in this case, it was, we got one, now we got to get another.
It sounded straightforward. Who had the motivation, the temper to dispose of Maggie LaCosta? Easy, the husband, Ed. But that isn't the way the law and evidence work. And maybe there was something that no one knew about between the accused, Michael LaCosta, and the victim, his sister-in-law.
Yeah, she's gone.
Michael LaCosta was going on trial for murder, and his brother Edward was going to work in dating.
We're holding the hope that Michael will confess to committing the murder and send his back.
Would someone crack him? Dateman take out.
What's nice about the iPhone is if you run into a friend and you want to share a photo with a flick, there's an app for that. If you want to share contact info with a bump, there's an app for that. Or if you just want to share some downtime, well, there's an app for that too. Because there's an app for just about anything, only on the iPhone.
For all the moments that make every day special, Fancy Feast introduces an entirely new way to celebrate any moment. Fancy Feast appetizers. Simple, high-quality ingredients like wild Alaskan salmon, white meat chicken, or sea bass and shrimp in a delicate broth. Prepared without byproducts or fillers. New Fancy Feast appetizers. Celebrate the moment.
Teen girls and guys are from two different planets. That's why there's one-a-day teen advantage for her and for him. The only complete multivitamins designed for their specific health concerns, like her healthy skin and his healthy muscle function. One-a-day teen advantage.
Let me swim. I'm a little irregular today. Is it even activity? Hormonal issues?
They're not that bad. Summer's no time to put up with even occasional digestive problems. Believe me, once they go away, it's amazing how good you feel.
Activia is clinically proven.
Maybe a challenge. Activia! Added the coolest looks out there. All at up to 7 to 1 in department stores.
Burlington Culpepper. Everyone loves a great wine.
Say hello to the can-doers, the budget masters, the knockout artists who are finding more ways to spread their dollar further, to bolder color in less time. Say hello to newer ideas at lower prices, enabling more people to turn more saving into more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Try out different colors tonight.
Claritin D refuses to compromise on fast congestion relief. Neither should you. Thank you, Claritin D. So you'll find Claritin D behind the pharmacy counter.
Thank you, Claritin D, for staying tough on the toughest allergy symptoms.
For refusing to change your formula. Nothing works stronger, faster, or longer to relieve your worst allergy symptoms, including congestion and sinus pressure without drowsiness.
Thank you, Claritin D, for helping me live Claritin Clear.
Get Claritin D at the pharmacy counter. Still no prescription needed.
Once she gets under your skin, you treat the disease.
How will I treat the patient?
There is no cure for Veronica. Mercy coming Wednesdays this fall to NBC. Last season, her dreams were lost.
She will not be going through the next stage of the competition.
And she almost lost it all.
I had cancer. The doctors told me that I wasn't going to sing anymore.
Tuesday, they'll both get a second chance.
The shot means everything to me.
New America's Got Talent Live, Tuesday 9 Central on NBC.
bludgeoning and stabbing murder of his sister-in-law Maggie Locascio in her Miami home. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. Prosecutors were hoping Michael Locascio would stew in his juices to think about being injected to death. They were hoping he'd flip and testify against his brother. That's what Locaccio's son certainly wanted.
For a long time, that's why we were holding the hope that Michael Locascio would say either he himself would confess to committing the murder and saying how Ed was connected to it or how a payoff was to be made. He never did.
So the trial was on. Michael Locascio charged as the lone killer. The prosecutor made it clear she thought the brothers were in on it together.
Maggie Locascio and her husband Ed were involved in a contested divorce. Her husband and his brother, this defendant, decided to end their marriage not by waiting for the judge's ruling, but by murdering her.
And the facts were bad for him. The white pickup truck leaving the scene was like his white pickup recovered at his home in North Carolina. The one which police found the upholstery ripped out. And most of all, that gym bag recovered near the crime scene with the murderer's bloody clothes, a weapon, and also Michael Locaccio's DNA on a latex glove. Locaccio's defense attorney made a familiar argument in criminal trial. The lab work was flawed. The motivation improved.
The state's case is based mainly on DNA and circumstantial evidence. The DNA evidence in this case is highly suspect.
But the jury took only 6 hours to convict Michael Locascio of first-degree murder.
Oh,
We, the jury, find the defendant, Michael Glory Locascio, guilty of first-degree murder as charged.
The jury recommended a life sentence, which Judge Stanford Blake imposed.
It's a brutal killing. No one, no living thing deserves to be killed like that. The death that she suffered that night at your feet. Someday it will be all your maker. Life's going to make it the easy part for you.
But Eddie Jr., in an impassioned speech, had argued for the death penalty.
We do not believe that we should show the
why would you do that?
Just as he showed Maggie no mercy, she begged him for her life.
Eddie Locascio Jr. was both brilliant and tortured. He graduated from college at 19 and was accepted at the University of Miami Medical School, where he was one of the top students. But Eddie was also living a role out of an ancient Greek tragedy. The son, determined to bring down the father, avenging the death of his quiet, much-put-upon mother, Maggie. Eddie Jr. was getting through his studies at a double-time pace so he could get his medical career up and running and get his mother away from the father he called Ed, never Dad.
Something that drove me really hard to study for was, eventually to become financial independent
So you could make the money as soon as possible to get her out of that situation.
Right.
His mother's first step had been the restraining order. The second, getting a good divorce. In Florida, it's 50-50, and there seemed to be enough community property to share, a net worth estimated at up to $6 million.
And it frees his assets, huh?
It frees his assets because if you want to pay the alimony, he starts to take it out of his joint assets. The judge said, no, you're supposed to take it out of your income. He doesn't want to do that. He wants it all for himself.
Edward Sr. was an accountant, and so was his wife Maggie. So she knew how to read the books of the family finances, knew the accounts where the money was invested, and she knew that her husband hadn't disclosed their true net worth to the judge. She was going to tell the judge, in effect, that Edward had been squirreling away some money from the court and from her.
So she could say in her deposition, this is what this marriage, this guy is really worth.
Exactly. He'd actually issue his fine with every single account.
But hours before that courtroom confrontation, she was murdered by her brother-in-law from North Carolina. That was the jury's finding. The day after his wife's murder, Edward Locaccio's lawyer did go to court to have his divorce case dismissed, his assets unfrozen, and to declare him sole beneficiary of the estate.
How someone could have such an utter lack of regard for human life that immediately after this woman he was married to for 28 years, after she murders her, then right away he needs to cash in on the money that he murdered her to obtain.
Eddie Jr. pursued his father into civil court to keep him from getting his hands on the family money. Eddie, the medical student, found himself in courtrooms as much as classrooms.
had to basically teach myself how to become a lawyer, and I actually would go to probate court, and I had to defend on various occasions against motions of his attorneys to unfreeze his assets. And I actually prevailed on those motions.
Eddie Jr. was winning against his father in civil court, but he was having less luck with the criminal case. Even 4 years later, while his uncle was awaiting trial, the prosecutor cautioned Eddie Jr. about getting his hopes up of ever nailing the person he regarded as the mastermind of the crime, his father.